So, having looked at conventional ingrowing toenails where it grows in at the edge, and the slightly less common distal ingrowing toenail where it grows into the end of the toe, for the sake of completeness, we ought to look at the rarest flavour, which is called retronychia. And this is where an ingrowing toenail forms at the proximal nail fold down here. So here's your toe. There's the end of the toe, there's the nail fold, matrix is back there somewhere, and the nail obviously originates in there, grows out through there, and then when it overhangs the end of the toe, you come along with your nail clippers and you clip it off there. So that's a normal way a nail grows. A retronychia, which is retro backwards nychia nail, is what happens when the nail grows out as normal, and then somewhere around here we think what happens is it gets stuck. It basically can't move, it can't grow any further out that way. And of course, if it can't grow out that way, if it can't push forward, but the nail is still laying down, what happens is it starts to push back that way. The growth actually goes backwards down the toe along the body. So you get inflammation around here, you get paronychia, later stages, you can get hypergranulation that runs right the way across the base of the toe. And in extreme cases, there's one that I will throw up here, one of the cases that I had, the nail can actually break out backwards of the nail fold. I've only ever seen that once, and I haven't seen that reported in the literature, but it can happen. So it's more or less the same mechanism as any other kind of toenail, except instead of going forward, it's going backwards. It's a relatively rare condition. So far as I am aware, there have only been about 100 cases reported in the literature, which is not very many at all. I have seen a few of them, but I probably saw a few more before I knew what they were, which is why these sorts of conditions, though rare, are always worth learning about, because the time you do see it, you really do want to know what you're looking at. There was a particularly fabulous article on this published in the Brazilian Journal of Dermatology, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the author's name, but I will put the link in the description. And they produced this rather lovely graphic, which shows you rather clearly what happens when the end of the nail gets stuck. You get a layer form at the base, and then because that is under trauma, that will actually lift, and you'll get another layer start underneath it, and then that will lift, and then you'll get another layer underneath that, and you end up with multiple layers at the back of the nail fold which actually elevate up. Obviously that takes up room and it is painful, and it is also a treatment concern, because where you have these lots of different layers of nail, when you do the total nail avulsion, which this condition needs, you have to make very sure that you've got all of those layers. I'm sure you've all seen these in nail surgery before. When you get a regrowth or something like that, it can be quite hard to distinguish what is brand new nail and what is nail bed. And of course, if you don't actually get underneath all of those nails to the nail bed to phenolize, then it's just going to keep growing. So just a quickie, because it's not a condition that I'm an expert on by any means, but retronychia is a backwards growing nail where the nail gets stuck at the end, starts growing back into the nail fold, forms multiple layers of nail in the nail fold, becomes inflamed, can become hypergranulated, and always will require a total nail avulsion to stop that happening. There is no way you can cut that nail that's going to stop that from happening. So if you see one of those, if you are in a position to, total nail avulsion. If you are not in a position to, refer to somebody who is in a position to.